Something told me to wear this tonight. Was my gut instinct right? Let's see. Ooh, boy. Yeah, Reinhardt struck, and then in the last minute it was Kachuk, the usual suspects. So, another multi-goal first period for the Panthers, and it's 2-0 for the defending champs. And honestly, even though it was one period done, I had a bad feeling about Edmonton. I didn't think Edmonton had the oomph from earlier games, and it kind of looked like they could be on their way to being done for. And yeah, 3-0, Reinhardt again, and yeah, the Oilers they just had no answer at all, none. So we may as well just we may as well just reveal what was already pretty much a done deal in this game. They did it, folks, back to back. Remember when winning back to back was hard? The Panthers became the third team in the last decade to win back to back cups, and 5-1. 5-1 was the final score. Reinhardt had four of the goals, yet none of them were the cup clincher. That nod went to Matt Kachuk's goal late in the first period because Vasily Podkolzin had to end the shutout. If he hadn't, Reinhardt would have had a cup clinching goal for the second straight year. But he'll just settle for winning for another cup and making Sabres fans cry in their cereal. So yeah, the Panthers are champs again, and this time, for the first time in franchise history, they have a Conn Smythe winner. And boy, did they pick the wrong guy. I guess being carried is enough to be MVP, because I remember when you had to actually earn the right to become Conn Smythe winner. I mean, if you're going to give it to a Sam, give it to one who actually scores goals. Reinhardt. Reinhardt had more goals in Game 6 than Bennett had in all postseason. But yeah, so Sam Bennett goes down in history as the Florida Panthers' first ever Conn Smythe winner. He has two cups. A lot of that core group has two cups. Brad Marchand, has two cups. Isn't that something? An ex-Bruin being traded as a favor and goes on to win a cup. I've heard this story before. And Carver Hagee won for the third time. Amazing. So, it's a hell of a story regarding the Panthers, but now I have to talk about the Oilers. You know, a funny thing happened. I actually found myself actually pulling for the Oilers quite a bit. It did kind of help the Oilers' case that they were playing against teams I couldn't stand. But the Oilers used to be on that list. The Oilers were on that list. And then they played Vegas, and then they played Dallas, and Dallas Dallas fans were getting on my last nerve because they refused to see that the refs helped them get this far. But the Oilers gave a lot of Avs fans a good laugh when they beat them out again. When they beat Dallas out again. So, and then I had my reasons for actually wanting Edmonton to win this, to beat Florida out. But one thing I noticed regarding the Oilers was this was different. These weren't the same teams that were lackadaisical were just messing about and blowing things. They were getting out of holes big time. This team was actually pretty good and deep enough to win this whole thing. Yeah, I know losing Hyman for the final sucked, but it looked like the Oilers were going to rise above that. I mean, had this been about a year or two ago, I would have said they were screwed. But the Oilers did look good. It just wasn't in the cards for them. You know, a lot of players that played well. You know, Draisaitl did his thing, big time. And Corey Perry was scoring clutch goals all over. 40 years old, just getting it done. But that's another finals loss for him. This was different, to be honest. And yeah, so the Oilers really did try. They really did. However, I do have to kind of bury one player, and for once, I'm not going to have any joy in doing this. Connor, where were you in this series? Where were you? True story. When they showed McDavid during the final minutes, I almost teared up, and I'm dead serious about that because, again, this team was actually trying something I didn't see much of in past years. But what really hurt this team, people say, well, we missed Hyman. Well, they missed. People say, well, Hyman was out. That was a factor, but they still could have looked like they would rise above it. They'll blame the goaltending. You can't really blame the goaltending because the shots weren't there, especially from him. McDavid had one goal in that entire final. That was the difference. He couldn't. He wasn't putting the shots together. Usually, he and Draisaitl are a package deal, but while Draisaitl was scoring, McDavid was absent. We couldn't see him, and it just sucks. So it was always one thing leading to another, and I don't know. But the fact is, the Canadian drought continues. And McDavid has finished year 10, and he still doesn't have his ring yet. And here's an interesting wrinkle here. Next year is McDavid's last year under his current deal. There's all sorts of rumors flying. Some fans are saying he's going to end up with Toronto. Wouldn't that be something? But we'll see how next year goes for him. But again, normally I take a lot of pleasure when the Oilers fail. In recent years, I have. This year, I can't do that. I really can't do that because the effort was there big time. It just wasn't in the cards. And so ends another wild, crazy, and wacky NHL season. We can all breathe. And for any of y'all talking dynasty talk and three-peat talk, let me just remind you what happened the last time a three-peat was teased. This was the result. So, congratulations, Panthers, back-to-back cups. It's really something. And that's it for the NHL season. It's crazy. I love this sport, but it is good to get a breather from this sport until early October comes around. So that is my recap of Game 6 of this year's final. If you like this video, click the like button. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe. If you want more, if you're on TikTok and Instagram, feel free to hit that follow button. And my story, there's my story above on Vocal. Check it out when you can. Once again, congratulations for the Panthers. Back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. An amazing feat.